5.
We do have
let's take a stroll through the heart of this city that we know so well. Charities and shops with stories to tell. Community connections, that's the way. We light up local every day. From the fun to the heart to the city's soul. It's Marlborough pride, let's roll. WMCT, it's where we'll be. Marlborough pride on your TV.
Hello Marlborough, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Community Connections. I'm your host, Ryan Malyar. I'm the Executive Director here at WMCT-TV. And you might notice on my side here, I've got a special co-host today, Katie Robey. Katie's one of our City Councilors at large, am I right?
You are correct.
And you must be feeling a bit of a relief today.
Very relieved, happy the election is over, and happy I was re-elected.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. Now, I brought you in here today because you had sort of floated by me that maybe in the future you might want to do your own show.
I am tempted, yes.
And now we have it on. Now we have it on camera. We have the proof.
We do, yes.
But this is just a great little chance to feel it out today.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm just excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
It gets lonely by myself.
I'm sure it does.
But we are not going to be lonely today because we have two really fabulous guests. We have Alyssa Giaquinto from Giaquinto Wildlife Center and her famous barn owl, Bella. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So let's just start off from the beginning, Alyssa. What is Giaquinto Wildlife Center? How did it all get started?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Well, we're a small family-run nonprofit in Marlborough here. I am a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, and I have been a wildlife rehabilitator for 7 years. I am licensed through Mass Wildlife as well as the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And what we do is we take in injured or orphaned wildlife with the ultimate goal of releasing them back out into the wild. And we also bring Bella, and we do community outreach programs, educational programs. We go to schools, museums, libraries, you name it, wherever we can go, and conduct our programs are all free. And conduct programs where we can get people excited about wildlife and excited about nature, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, well, Bella's a perfect mascot because she came in and immediately Katie and I got so excited. She's a great open door for you, I imagine, especially with children. What are the sort of educational programs that you're offering? If we're kids over here, what are you talking to us about? What are you teaching us?
Well, Bella really is the heart of our wildlife center. She is a wonderful ambassador. What an ambassador animal is just someone who gets to meet wonderful people like both of you and inspire them to conserve our native wildlife. So our programs range from anywhere from school programs to preschoolers, where we just talk to them about wildlife, little things they can do to protect our wildlife and be wildlife heroes, like we call them.
I love that, wildlife heroes.
Yeah, Bella has her own, Bella's Wildlife Heroes. She has her own group of wildlife heroes. So we teach people of all ages different things that they can do to be wildlife heroes. And sometimes we do programs, whether it's with the Scouts or public programs where people come in, they can do different owl crafts. We conduct owl prowls, nature walks, bird walks. Really anything we can do just to educate the public and get them outside and connected with nature and connected with wildlife.
Yeah. Well, I know the city of Marlborough, they wanted to be the part of that team as well, right? So you actually were able to visit City Council a few months ago. What happened during that meeting, Katie?
So it was back in March, Councilor Preciado, and I'm not sure the connection of him to you, but obviously he knew who you were and what you were trying to do with both Bella and with rodents and issues with killing of rodents by businesses and private homeowners. So he brought an order to the City Council. I had to write it down because it doesn't roll off my tongue. Second generation anticoagulant rodenticides. So after the order was brought in, at his request to ban the use of those on city property, the City Council did do that. There was some discussion with the Board of Health to do exceptions. They had suggested not to have exceptions, so the The city did pass this, and we didn't really get any comments from the public. I understand now there is something at the state level that would do a ban, and you probably have more details on that than I do. But
Yeah, tell me about the whole process of, educate me.
Sure.
To educate me on rodenticides and how awful they can be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it all started with Councilor Preciado, where he actually reached out to me. I had made a post on the residents of Marlborough about a red-tailed hawk that was actually found downed right outside this building. And when I got to it, it was debilitated, it was bleeding, and it ended up having a fatal seizure and dying, and likely from secondary rodenticide poisoning from these second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, also called escars. So, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's rat poison, mouse poison. And it not only kills mice, but it also can harm and kill the predators that eat mice. Like Bella, sleepy Bella here, working with nocturnal animals, they're just going to doze off from time to time.
No, it's the middle of the night for her.
Exactly, yeah. So Councilor Preciado it lives local to here, and he saw that red-tailed hawk, and he was nervous because that spring he had watched a red-tailed hawk family grow up in his backyard, and he was concerned because he thought maybe that was one of the offspring of the family in his yard, and it likely was, because it was a first-year red-tailed hawk very close to the location of where the nest was. And he said, "What can we do?" And I said, education is the first line of defense. We could possibly work together, write an ordinance, and see what the council and what the city would think of passing it and banning these escars on city property. So we went through the process, we went through the steps. I spoke at one of your council meetings with Bella.
yes, you did.
And in May, the council did vote unanimously to ban it on city property, which did go into effect. And it is just city-owned property, but that is a huge step because that saves countless animals' lives just by taking those rodenticide boxes away. We don't know how many animals we're saving, but we know it's a lot. It also, lets the public know that these things are dangerous. These chemicals are not just hurting our wildlife; they're hurting our domestic pets. Our children, they're very dangerous chemicals. And so just banning it on city property was a wonderful step. There is a bill at the State House. We are hopeful. It's gaining momentum. It does have a lot of support from the senators. So we are hopeful for that bill, and that would ban that escars statewide.
Yeah. Now, you are a rehabilitation center, right? So before we went on the air, I was saying my story of finding little baby rabbits in my backyard. And what was
My story was a squirrel. We had an outdoor cat that brought home a infant squirrel, still had its eyes closed. So we took it to our vet. The vet said, "I can't do anything. You can raise it." So we raised the squirrel and then found out that we really weren't supposed to have it. We contacted a couple of rehab centers in Massachusetts. They were not real close, and we weren't really thrilled with their comments that they made. So Squirmy took a road trip and went to Iowa with my husband and my daughter, who were visiting family, and they found a rehab center. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of animals do you accept, and what is the most common animal that visits your doorstep?
Well, all sorts of. We've worked with anything, licensed Massachusetts rehabbers can take in anything except for black bear, moose, and then there's 2 designated white-tailed deer rehabbers. Other than that, as far as mammals, we can take in anything. I've worked with anything, as small as a chipmunk to gray fox to raccoons, Virginia opossums. The most I get is probably eastern cottontails. Oh. There are a small amount of rehabbers in the state that are federally licensed through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and we are licensed through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to take in migratory birds. And I was working a lot with waterfowl. Unfortunately, recently we've been dealing with a lot of avian flu with our waterfowl, so I did have to slow down the intakes with that because raptors are susceptible to avian flu, and it can be quite fatal for raptors. So we did limit our intakes on waterfowl. So
a lot to consider then, not just what you're taking in, but what they could potentially share or spread amongst the animals that you are trying to get healthy again.
Yeah, exactly. So we do take a lot of eastern cottontails, our native bunnies, rabbits that we have here in
Yeah.
Massachusetts. Not only are they adorable, they have a wonderful purpose. They cut down a lot of our invasive plant species, and they're also a year-round food supplies for predators. So they keep our ecosystem in balance, and they are very difficult to rehab. There's not a lot of rehabbers that enjoy taking them in because they are more challenging, and they're very delicate, I would say. But I love them, and you know, it's wonderful to rehab them, and they're adorable too.
They are.
Do you find a lot of them with rabies or tick issues? Do
Eastern cottontails, no. Since my daughter was born about 4 years ago, I did stop and limit my intakes of rabies vector species, so the raccoons, striped skunks. I no longer take them in right now until she's older enough and can understand rabies. It's a fatal disease for humans. There is no cure for rabies. It's 100% fatal. So we don't take any chances when it comes to any rabies vector species. But as far as eastern cottontails with rabies, no. Usually they're just orphaned. We get a lot of calls of outdoor cats that are getting into baby bunny nests. And so we do, part of our educational outreach is to try to, you know, teach people about keeping their cats indoors. Not only is it safer for their cats, but cats are the #1 killer of songbirds in this world, and that's above pesticides, window strikes, habitat destruction, and it's outdoor cats. So we do hope and, you know, ask the public to keep their cats indoors.
That's something I've never even considered, because you think you have indoor cats and outdoor cats, but maybe if you're keeping a cat as a pet, it really should just be more of an indoor cat? Is that sort of the mentality here?
Yeah, that's the hope. The lifespan of an indoor cat is much longer too. You know, between coyotes and car strikes, it is a difficult life out there for an outdoor cat. And they also, you know, they don't harm and hunt the songbirds and the eastern cottontails to eat them. So I always say I have no problem where a mother fox is, you know, getting these bunnies to feed their family. But outdoor cats tend to do it for fun, and they leave them injured, or they bring them into the families injured, and then they come on our doorstep, and it's very difficult because we see this over and over again. So that is part of the reason I started getting into education, just so maybe we can prevent some of these rehab patients before it even begins.
I'm learning a lot today.
Yes, yeah, and I know we made sure that our cats now are only indoor cats because we did realize my cats were hunters, and they would bring home lots of dead birds and lots of dead rabbits and chipmunks.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. What's Bella's story?
Yeah, so Sleepy Bella here, she usually falls asleep during programs. I don't know if I bore her or it's just this is the time where she normally is sleeping. Nocturnal animals sleep during the day, they're awake at night. Bella is actually from West Virginia. She was captive bred for the sport
She's a country gal.
Yeah, exactly. So she was captive bred for the sport of falconry, which is where falconers train their birds of prey to go out and hunt prey. It's one of the oldest sports known to man. And Bella did not work out as a falconry bird. So at 6 months of age, we found out she needed placement into an educational facility because when they are raised by humans and have imprinted on humans, any wildlife that imprints on a human cannot be released into the wild. They have no survival skills, and they need to be used for education. So Bella came to us, and she is our educational ambassador now. And in the wild, barn owls actually only live about 1 to 2 years. Most barely make it past their first birthday. And in captivity, they'll live about 10 to 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are they prey for other animals, or do they just die?
It's a great question. So raptors are the apex predators of the wild. They keep our ecosystem in balance. But humans, we are the apex predators of the world. So their predators are us. We're poisoning their food, and we're starving them of. She eats mice. She eats 3 mice a day, so about 1,000 mice per year. And a family of barn owls eat about 5,000 mice per year. So when we poison the mice with rodenticides, we're losing this asset. And that is why their lifespan is so short in the wild. All of her food comes frozen. We know where it comes from, and we thaw it and feed it to her. So we know that she'll live, hopefully a long life as our wonderful ambassador animal.
What was the process like in starting a rehabilitation center, or what? And what was your process to get there? I know you have a very unique background before you entered into this advocacy work.
So I actually was a police officer in the city of Marlborough. I was injured on the job and had to medically retire. And so I wanted to do something. I've always had a love of wildlife, and it probably started when I was 6 or 7 years old. My father was out for his morning walk, and he found a mother opossum that had been hit by a car. And inside her pouch, Virginia opossums are marsupials, so they carry their young in their pouch. And inside her pouch were her babies, her baby Joey's, and they were still alive. So my father brought them back to the house, and I got to see these beautiful opossum Joey's, and that day we brought them to a wildlife rehabilitator. And I thought this was really cool that this person was giving these babies a second chance at life. So fast forward now, I'm a licensed wildlife rehabilitator with the state and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And I learned I was taking in the same types of animals over and over where, the public was either causing them harm or causing them to be orphaned without even know they were doing it. So I realized very quickly that I could quietly take in one animal at a time over and over again. And or I could get out there and teach the public and maybe prevent some of these cases from coming in. Being a wildlife rehabilitator is a heart of what I do. It's the hands-on work. You're saving that one eastern cottontail or that one Virginia possum, and you're making a difference in that one animal's life. But education is the multiplier.
Yes.
So you're reaching so many animals. And every time I bring her to meet people, we're not saving just that one animal, but we're helping every animal that the public encounters after leaving that program. And that is why I do what I do. I don't know, how many animals I'm saving by doing education, but I know it's a lot. And that's what keeps me doing these educational programs and meeting people. But it was a long journey to get here. There was a lot of hours involved with training to not just be licensed wildlife rehabilitator, but the licensing to do educational programs in possessing a bird of prey for education. There's a lot of hours. You can't own an owl in the United States as a pet.
No.
They don't make great pets either. Despite how calm she is right now, it does, believe it or not, it takes a lot of work. Owls don't like to just sit on your glove.
No.
So it does take a lot of work. But that was my journey to where I am now. And, being a small family-run nonprofit with my husband and my daughter, I do this for my daughter. She's the next generation. So the more children we can reach to connect with wildlife and to connect with nature, the better, because that's what it's all about.
It's amazing. Well, we're going to take a really brief pause right now. We have a few words from our sponsors, but don't go anywhere. We'll be continuing on with Alyssa Giaquinto and the beautiful Bella, the barn owl, right after these messages. See you soon.
It's shout-out time. WMCT-TV would like to thank our sponsors for supporting community media here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa, offering services including extensions and keratin smoothing, coloring and blonding, precision cutting, and more. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa is located at 31 Spring Hill Ave in Marlborough, Massachusetts. The Coffee Loft. Coffee and community is their motto, as they serve up lattes, cold brew, tea, sandwiches, and pastries too. The Coffee Loft is open 7 days a week at 406 Lincoln Street, here in Marlborough. The Vin Bin, bringing you the best in wine, cheese, brew, and gourmet sandwiches for 20 years and counting. The Vin Bin is located at 91 Main Street in Marlborough. Author and illustrator Mark Martirosian, host of TV's Drawing with Mark on WMCT-TV. Mark is offering free downloadable activity pages for kids of all ages. Email pennyarcadecreative@gmail.com for more information. Leah Owen, marketing and business consultant. Leah's team members and partners share her belief that great organizations, from businesses to nonprofits and more, deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. From social media strategy to community events, this boutique marketing agency helps local brands and organizations grow with purpose and personality.
Thanks for sticking around with us. I'm Ryan Malyar here at WMCT-TV, joined, of course, by Councilor Katie Robey and Alyssa Giaquinto and Bella the barn owl. So as we've been talking about the rehabilitation of animals here in Marlborough and beyond, and all of the wonderful outreach and education that you do, where can we find you coming up? I'm here in Marlborough, I've got kids. Where are we going to go and see you and take this opportunity to learn?
Yeah, no, definitely. So all of our programs are on our website, the Giaquinto Wildlife Center, all of our public programs. And we have some really exciting ones coming up. We will be at the holiday stroll here in Marlborough on December 7th. So we will be there. Bella will be there for that. We'll have some owl crafts for the kids. We'll have a table dedicated all about our native wildlife with some, children's activities. And of course, Bella will be there.
Of course.
And then on December 13th, we will be at the Marlborough Public Library. This is our 4th Climate Cafe lecture that we have hosted at the Marlborough Public Library. And this one, we've done different ones throughout the year, but this one is dedicated all about owls. We're calling it Owl Hour. It's a mouthful. And it's all about owls. And we will have 2 different owls there. We will have Bella, and we also have a great horned owl named Edison. And so we're going to talk about our native owls, and Edison may or may not put on a little show for everyone and fly around a bit. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, that will be very exciting. I also heard that the city is going to be involved in a kestrel nesting program. Can you talk about that?
Yes, sure. So we were approached by the Massachusetts Falconry and Hawk Trust, and they received a grant to build 26 American kestrel boxes. So for
What's a kestrel box?
yeah, so an American kestrel is North America's tiniest falcon. And they prey on rodents, they prey on invasive birds, and insects. And we're trying to repopulate them across the country, and especially in Massachusetts. So the Massachusetts Falconry and Hawk Trust built 26 kestrel boxes. It's basically a birdhouse for kestrels.
So bigger than your tiny little birdhouse that you might craft and put in a tree.
Exactly, but along the same, outline of it, but it's suitable for their nesting. So we will be installing that. I'm working with Chuck from the rec department, and we'll be installing that here in Marlborough at Galone Park. We have a wonderful spot for it, and we want to attract them for breeding season and in the spring. So we want them to feel comfortable, and hopefully we have a breeding nesting pair that will come to Marlborough and nest in that box and start to repopulate the population in this area.
Wow.
Do kestrels migrate, or are they here year-round?
Yep, some do. Some do migrate. So we're hoping to catch them when they're coming here for their breeding season. And they're tiny. They're very small, about the size of probably a soda can. But they're mighty birds. They're mighty falcons.
Small but mighty.
And there's a lot of invasive birds and rodents in the area where we're putting their poll. So we're hoping that will help that population.
Yeah, they'll be like, ooh, it's a good draw.
Yes.
Lots of mice over here. This will work out for me. Now, I see your daughter. She's in the other room over there. And I know you said that she was part of your inspiration for really getting this moving. Tell me a little bit about the messages that you really try to instill in children, because I'm here to absorb them as well. And what can we do better to interact with and keep the wildlife around us happier and healthier?
Yeah, no, great question. And 4 years ago when she was born, I've been a wildlife rehabilitator for over 7 years, but 4 years ago when she was born, I realized that we need to inspire the next generation. Our children are going to take over this planet, and we need a healthy wildlife population for them, and we want to pass that on to them. We don't own this world, we share it with our wildlife, right? And so we want to pass on healthy wildlife species to our children, and that's really what got me into the educational part. There's nothing more, amazing to me is when a child's eyes light up when they meet Bella. Even your eyes lit up, But when you see a child's eyes light up when they meet Bella for the first time, you know that they're going to remember that. And at that age, preschool, my daughter's in preschool, they're like little sponges. So, when you tell them to be kind to all wildlife and that all of our wildlife species have a purpose here on Earth, they learn that and they carry that with them, and that's what we want. We want our children to care for nature and care for our wildlife, and they'll grow up protecting it, and they'll grow up protecting these species that we want to preserve.
Are there any immediate things we can put into action today as we go out into the world and leave WMCT-TV that I can say, yes, this is an easy change I can make, or a start in the right direction? Anything implemental?
Yeah, so, we all want to be wildlife heroes.
Yes.
And so I tell everyone the biggest thing we can do, other than being kind to all of wildlife, is cleaning up our trash. If we're going for a nature walk in the woods, whatever we bring out, we want to bring in. If we're going fishing, we bring in our fishing gear. We don't leave line out there. We get so many calls of birds stuck in fishing line, animals stuck in fishing line. And trash. We need to clean up our trash. We will not have a rodent problem if we can clean up our trash. Sanitation is the biggest thing we can do to cut down on the rats that we have. If you're having a problem with birds flying into your window, there's little decals that you can put on your window. You can buy them on Amazon. They're called bird window decals, because we get a lot of calls about birds, even owls, that have flown into windows. So that will prevent that, because that is fatal for songbirds. We're losing a lot of songbirds to
And
window
it's just
strikes.
like, that little awareness of, that happened once, let's not let that happen again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they make these little stickers you can put on your windows. Restricting the use and limiting the use of these rodenticides, that is just one of the biggest things we can do, and one of the biggest things I am advocating for, and Bella's advocating for here. But these little things we can do every day is simple as, when we go for a hike or a walk, bringing our trash out of the woods, not leaving them in the woods. Simple things like that is just going to save countless animals' lives.
Yeah. So you are a nonprofit, and I imagine the costs associated with feeding and caring for multiple animals at a time can be astronomical. I'm just curious how people can get involved to make donations, and if you have any major sponsors or ways that keep you moving, who can we be grateful for what you're doing?
No, thank you for asking that. Yes, wildlife rehabilitators are not funded by the state or federally. Everything I do is out of pocket. My family, we quietly pay for everything. Bella here just had some upgrades to her aviary this weekend. We had an electrician come, and we had someone come and make it a little more comfortable this winter for her. And it was, before you know it, it's $2,000. So these are things that we quietly pay for. But on our website, we do have multiple ways people can contribute, whether it's a monetary donation or they can order a gift certificate to Bella's favorite food, Rodent Pro, and it can help with that. And then we always ask people, maybe just sharing our Facebook posts to spread awareness of the message that in wildlife conservation that we're doing is a really big thing that people can do to help. But yes, it does get very costly, especially in the spring. We get all of the orphaned wildlife. And Bella eats 3 mice a day, so it's about $1 a mouse, so it adds up pretty quickly.
Sponsor a mouse. You can do it today.
Exactly.
They're flash frozen.
Yes.
Fresh as can be.
Exactly. We have a designated freezer for Bella.
Oh.
Yes, her frozen food does not go next to our frozen food.
No. What's it like working with so many different animals, and some are predatory, and there must be a lot of separation required. You can't put Bella in the same room with a possum, I suppose.
No.
How does that all work?
Well, Bella is a bit of a diva, and she has her own area. So
course,
she has her own aviary, and nothing goes near her.
No.
She is the queen of our property. I have a designated rehab area that, because we are not open to the public, it is out of our home. We do public programs so we can reach the public this way instead of. My husband is very supportive. He lets me bring in wild animals all the time to the house. But if I started leading guided tours through our home, I think he'd draw the line there.
And here's the living room.
Exactly. So we do, I have a designated rehab area that I keep the patients in. And right now we're not, luckily, knock on wood, we don't have any patients right now. It is the off season. In the spring it does get quite busy, but we have our eastern cottontail in one area, and depending on the other species that we have, they're in their own designated area.
So it's primarily focused on education at this point.
Right now, yes, we've
Yeah.
done about 60 free educational programs this year.
Oh, that's great. So how can people get in touch if they'd like to have you come to their library or their Girl Scout or Boy Scout troop, or who else would be a good match to have Bella visit?
You name it, we've gotten asked to do it. She was actually, we went to the State House in May, or June rather, and someone was
fancy.
getting married there, and they wanted her in their wedding photo. So, you name it, we get asked, but they can reach me on GiaquintoWildlifeCenter.com, and there's a tab there that they can go to schedule a program, and we cater all our programs, we tailor it to the age group that we're speaking to. So a program that we would do for preschoolers is not something that we would do for adults. We've gone to breweries, anywhere that people want to learn about wildlife, and make it fun for them, because we want to make it fun for them. We want to get them excited about wildlife, and so we do tailor all our programs to the age group or the group that we are, or a curriculum in school. Teachers will let us know what they're learning about. If it's, we just did a program where they were learning all about the night, and so we tailored that to all nocturnal animals. And so different things, we've done colleges where they're, the AP Bio, where they dissect owl pellets. So we've done programs specifically for that.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to wrapping up today. Katie, do you have any final questions?
Just the one on how beautiful she is and how her feathers are layered and colored. Does that help her flying? How's her wingspan?
Yeah. So owls are really great. They're silent flyers, and Bella, she has a 4-foot wingspan. So you can see, if you look closely, her feathers have little ridges. It helps the air go through them. But barn owls have this color all for camouflage. They like to live in barns, given their name, because a lot of mice in barns. So they camouflage quite well in barns, but her feathers are very unique. Barn owls range from pretty much as dark as she can be, and then males can be all white. So there's quite a range, but her feathers are quite beautiful.
They are.
And I know when my daughter was in 4th grade, there was an owl program, and she also did the owl pellets. But where are their ears? I think that's always fascinating.
Yeah, they have asymmetrical ears. One is higher than the other, and it's all for hearing. Her hearing is so good, she can actually hear my heart beating right now. So they use their asymmetrical ears for triangulation for hearing, as well as her heart-shaped face. Owls have all different shaped faces, and that it just helps them hear that much better. It draws in the sound like a satellite dish.
You're right, it is heart-shaped. It's a beautiful face. It just, when you said it, yes, it is.
Do owls see in color or black and white?
They can see some shades of color, but really it's their hearing. That's where they shine with their hearing.
And especially being nocturnal,
Yes.
they're using that hearing almost essentially if they're hunting at night.
They can see very well in the dark. She's very nocturnal. I have a camera in her aviary, so I watch her fly around all at night.
Yeah.
Usually this is just when she's sleeping, which is why she's sleeping right now.
Well, thank you so much, Alyssa, for joining us today, and thank you, Bella. You've been a great host as well. Thank you, Katie. It was great having you as a co-host.
Oh, thank you. It was a wonderful opportunity
Do it
to
again
check
sometime.
it out.
Do it again sometime. Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode here of Community Connections. It's been great having local nonprofits on the show, hearing what's going on right here in Marlborough. There's always so much good stuff happening, so many fun things to do in the city. And now I've got on my calendar that I got to find Bella when we go to the downtown holiday stroll and the tree lighting. Bella's going to be there, get myself a little hot cocoa and see my good friend.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. That brings us to the end of our episode. I'm Ryan Malyar, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.